Let's go ahead and change subjects now, guys. Let's talk a little professional basketball. We're 5 games in for most teams, and of course you have your typical, Boston Celtics 4-1. The Lakers are 5-0. Miami is 4-1, as many people expected. But you have a couple of surprises. You have the Atlanta Hawks at 5-0 this year, and they're actually leading the Southeast Division. They're ahead of Miami and ahead of a 2-1 Orlando team. Carl, do you see this trend staying throughout the whole season, or do you see Orlando or Miami coming back and taking the top spot?
I think the Hawks are a very complete team. They have Al Horford in the middle. They have a very good power forward in Josh Smith, Marvin Williams at the small forward, Joe Johnson, a shooting guard who can score, Mike Bibby, a very good veteran leader. I mean, if you look at that team on paper, they look really good. But then you look at the Miami Heat, 3 perennial all-stars, 2 superstars, the MVP of the league, like scorers that could easily get 30 a night. And then they have really good supporting cast. James Jones has been playing well. I think it'll turn into Miami Heat just running away with the East, actually.
I think that the Miami Heat will also run away. Now, Aaron, I know that you seem to have a different opinion. You want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
I'm trying to hold my tongue. I'm trying. I can't call the supporting cast of Miami Heat good at all. I mean, Miller's injured right now, and that's about all I can claim is good on that as a supporting cast. No, Atlanta's going to have trouble. They don't have a guy who can play 3 feet from the basket that can give guaranteed points. They have an athletic center, which is big for making a lot of wins in the season, but not for winning championships. So I really think Orlando's going to take this one in that division.
Well, now, Devin, I want to go to another team who's been a surprise. The New Orleans Hornets are a surprising 4-0. Chris Paul, who wanted a trade throughout this year, is now just really running this team ragged. He's playing some fantastic basketball. Do you see that sticking?
I would like to say that the Hornets, we're gonna keep it up and be able to, edge out some of these other teams, but honestly, I just don't see it. There's so many, competitive teams in each division. You look at, on the East and the West. I mean, aside from Chris Paul, I don't see a guy that's going to be able to step up and elevate that team to the next level.
Carl, I know this is something that you're a little bit more familiar with it being the Southwest Division.
It is the Southwest Division. It's a very tough division. If you remember, I think there was a point last year where all 5 teams, Memphis, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and New Orleans, were above 500. In the East, there are only 4 teams above 500.
Right.
That's how tough this division is. All 5 of those teams could have made the playoffs. But no, Chris Paul has looked amazing. Like, people thought that he'd be in a wheelchair by the time he was 30 because of his knee injury. But no, he's looking really quick, agile, the Chris Paul of old, really. So he should be good.
Let's stick with something that you were kind of on. I want to talk about some guys who've been looking very crisp and very good and very ready for this season. Of all people, would y'all be able to believe me if I told you that through 5 games, Monte Ellis for the Golden State Warriors would be leading the league in scoring? He's averaging 30 points per game, and right behind him is Derrick Rose, Dirk Nowitzki, and Kevin Durant. Now, Devin, we all know that the LeBron Jameses and that the Kevin Durants are going to move their way up, the Kobe Bryants. But do you think that Monte Ellis is a legitimate threat for Golden State?
Oh, absolutely. I think I think Golden State as a whole is a legitimate team. Just wait until just wait until Baron Davis comes back.
Baron Davis is on the Clippers, man.
He went to the Clippers.
But you're all good. Don't worry, you're all good. Hey, you know what the problem with the Warriors? Hey, the Warriors run a very good system. I know Don Nelson and his crazy drunk schemes are gone. But for the most part, they still run up tempo. Monte Ellis has been one of the best scorers in the league, but their supporting cast was literally the D-League All-Stars the last couple of years.
Right. Well, someone who's on a bunch of lists of number ones, I guess I'd want to say, is Derrick Rose. He's second when it comes to points scored, and then he's 4th when it comes to assists per game. Do you see him being able to carry out that type of play and for sure make an All-Star game, but, from that point on, lead the league in some of these categories?
Derrick Rose will get his points, and he'll do well for the team. More importantly, something about the actual Bulls team is their center. He's really good. I think as long as Derrick Rose gets the ball to him, they'll have a good chance. But he's got to make sure he makes the passes and gets the points when he needs them.
That definitely We're okay. We had a little bit of a malfunction here on the set. But let's thank you, Aaron.
Well, the local team just down the road is the San Antonio Spurs, and I'm sure people would like to hear about them. And You know, the Miami Heat showed a very good example in the first game of the season when they played poorly and then came back to almost win their game against the Celtics.
Right.
The Spurs had 23 turnovers against the Suns, a team that makes you pay off turnovers. So the fact that they played really well against playing so poorly into the other team's defensive setup, that defense leading the offense, shows the Spurs are going to be very well.
Well, someone who's leading in offense right now is John Wall. John Wall's a rookie, we all know, from Kentucky. He's averaged 40 minutes per game, and he's averaging 24 points and 10.3 assists per game. He's really gone off this year. You know, everyone kind of freaked out when he had that first bad game. But ever since that first bad game, he's just come on and completely torn the league apart. Orange, you see him, and I guess I want to say, do you see a youth movement coming on with the likes of John Wall and, you know, Derek Favors, another guy from Kentucky who's 22 minutes, 10 points, and 9 rebounds. These rookies are averaging double-doubles so far throughout the season.
Yeah, I do see them coming through and doing a really good job in the NBA. If they can keep up their IQ and trying to learn the NBA and the system. I couldn't believe John Wall had 9 assists. Nine steals. That's amazing. I mean, think how many steals you can get in a game. That's a lot of steals, and that's the kind of player you want. He almost had a triple-double with that. So as long as these guys can keep working and basically learn the NBA, they're going to do well.
And you know the scary thing? Realistic best case for John Wall is Oscar Robertson. He's athletic enough that he can rebound, and he has the length to defend anybody. He has like a 6'9" wingspan, and he's really athletic.
Well, I'm more worried about, and I agree, I'm more worried about with John Wall. How is he going to fit into the team play system? He's going to have to use his talent to get points, I agree. But one of the important things as a point guard is you
have to distribute.
Yeah, you have to distribute.
You're
not the number one player.
Well,
you're number 2.
He's definitely been doing that. But guys, unfortunately, that's all the time we're going to have for today's segments.